Leclerc is back. Lewis Hamilton is there. We are Forza Ferrari. We on the top. The top. We are under the top. What a pulsating race that was at the historic Silverstone. We destroy the opposition, which destroy its cars, because we are simply the best looking cars. Yeah, la 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 la. What a great march by Scuderia Ferrari to the historic 250th win. We are Ferrari, Forza Ferrari. We are so happy. We are the winners. Yay! Wow, guys, what an amazing victory here at the Silverstone circuit. Everybody, welcome to this exclusive race reaction from the 4th Sprint Grand Prix weekend of this amazing Formula 1 2026 FIA Formula 1 season. And yeah, I have to say, that this was a victory long time, in the waiting list for Charles Leclerc. What a great victory for him. Definitely the payback for what happened in 2021 when Lewis Hamilton took it from him. He definitely deserves the beautiful golden trophy. So you guys, over here in this exclusive race reaction, we will celebrate, we will discuss, how we pulled off this magnificent victory, which now officially will be the 250th victory, 75 years, as I was singing over there. Obviously, the 75 years after our first victory with Jose Florian Gonzalez. We mentioned it during, obviously, the sprint reaction. Since 1951, that's where we started our account in Formula 1. And, we are going ever so strong. What a fantastic victory. I'm so happy for Charles Leclerc, because I think this will do him a big load of confidence. But obviously, we would kind of prefer Lewis Hamilton, who is kind of fighting now, definitely fighting for the championship. But what a great victory. So, everybody, it is time to get that golden trophy, just like Charles Leclerc did. So first, we will take off over here, this wonderful medal, which is obviously for the winner of the British Grand Prix. Yes, we've gotten it. After Barcelona, suffering in Austria, thankfully we didn't go there. We were kind of planning to go to Austria because it's quite close to where we live. But yeah, we got it over here. And yeah, we are definitely back on top, so let me just put it in and we will get to this exclusive reaction. Yeah, we definitely didn't need anything long sleeve. So everybody, let's celebrate Forza Ferrari! Oh yay! And of course, I'm also celebrating because I also won the Austrian Grand Prix. So it's all victories for Scuderia Ferrari over here, as we collecting, in my case, is obviously the 4th Formula 1 Chinese Grand Prix winner trophies at the iconic tracks. In the case of mighty Charles Leclerc over here, he's gotten his first Silverstone victory. And yeah, you can see, for us, obviously, as Ferrari, this is our 19th win over here at this iconic circuit. We won it with Carlos Sainz in 2022. Leclerc was very unlucky again, not only on that occasion in 2021 when Hamilton overtook him on the final round of this historic circuit, but also when Carlos Sainz has kind of gotten the better strategy under the safety car. The race did finish under the safety car, actually causing quite a lot of, maybe confusion or controversy, we could say, even though the explanation maybe has even still more controversy. It was actually a little bit ridiculous that we didn't get the last lap of racing, here at the 76th anniversary of the birth of Formula 1, because it should have really been a Ferrari 1-2, but we were lucky, to get into this position. So, after the sprint, I think not so many tweaks were needed, but, we've probably were the team, I would say, that made the biggest improvement. So, as we were chasing these great trophies, so we qualified 2nd and 3rd, and with Leclerc being there, that was gonna be interesting to see what happens. So, a beautiful crowd, obviously, all the celebrities there, the highest ever attendance, for the Formula 1 Grand Prix, almost 600,000 people. I mean, almost 1 million. It's like, almost every Brit was there. I mean, the Formula 1 is really popular. Lando Norris, the reigning champion, had his own stand, all in that kind of the fluorescent green color. You could also see the yellow caps of Lewis Hamilton. Should have really been red caps, but he decided, obviously, to have kind of the special edition for Silverstone. And yeah, it was an interesting race. So obviously after the sprint, it was critical for us, to make sure that it's not just one Ferrari fighting with one Mercedes, especially in the hands of Antonelli. That Benz look mighty, but that we were able to run a 1-2. And again, we mentioned it in many race reactions, that this was the way to beat Mercedes-Benz, and that's exactly what happened. Once we qualified second and third, and with kind of a margin, because Russell was kind of out of it. He was really slow this weekend, despite finishing obviously second. It was all about, getting a good start, right? And, making sure that Antonelli doesn't get away from the pole position, even though he's really pushing it. Obviously, to me, a champion definitely in a making, but, he is really exploring the limits, and in the end destroyed his race by simply going too wide through comps. I mean, I teach physics, so the loads are really tremendous. So, you really have to be careful going over the curbs. I know when you're playing the F1 25 simulators, you can go over the curbs and usually nothing ever happens. But with the real Formula 1 car, just like what happened to Alonso when he was exiting again, the Alberto Ascari chicane, you can break the suspension, which is kind of what happened to Antonelli, and thankfully it did, because it then enabled Charles Leclerc to literally cruise to his first Silverstone victory. And he was just admiring the most beautiful, shiny, golden Formula 1 Grand Prix winner trophy. But yeah, getting back, to the race start. So, Lewis Hamilton made a rookie mistake, 41 years of age, but he did move a little bit. He really wanted the 10th Formula 1 Grand Prix, Silverstone Grand Prix victory, British Grand Prix victory. Would have been his 15th podium, which he eventually got. We even kind of waited, to see what the investigation would be, because he's gotten a 5-second penalty, which kind of put him out of the fight for the victory. But great start, also managed to mug Antonelli from the left. Leclerc, pointed it, directly at Antonelli. I'm going for a lead. He immediately gotten into the lead. Great start by Leclerc, unlike what he's gotten in a sprint. So he's picked the right starts at the right moment. And we were running 1-2, and for the first 10 laps, perfect execution, right? Leclerc, was, able, for example, to stay ahead of Hamilton, who then, once he had that overtake button, right, the additional boost of energy, Antonelli couldn't do anything about him. That was really critical over there, because Antonelli kind of gotten stuck behind Hamilton. But of course, just like Lewis said, Charles did have a bit of a pace on him, which was a little bit of a surprise. And, once he broke, that magical 1-second barrier, Leclerc was able to build up the lead of 2, 3, 4 seconds. And of course, what happened to Hamilton was that then he started fighting with Antonelli, who eventually overtook him. But at that point, Hamilton was solidly in the third place, almost 5 seconds ahead of Russell and Verstappen, who were really fighting it hard. But, it was critical, that Ferrari actually didn't tell Hamilton that he had that 5-second, penalty, which actually put him into the fight with Russell, with Verstappen. So completely, put him out of the fight for what still could have been the victory at that point, even though he didn't know it. But yeah, it's important, to stay perfect, don't get any penalties. There was, for example, Nico Hülkenberg, right, who who has thrown away that VSC, the virtual safety car. Single yellow flag was shown, and yeah, Lewis Hamilton, of course, was fighting with Verstappen at that point, so he blasted past without actually stopping. So there was an investigation, but he's gotten a reprimand, so he will keep his P3, even though it should have really been P2, his 10th victory. But hey, it's good that Charles Leclerc has won here at Silverstone. So you can see, sometimes you have these margins, right? He just entered, that sector where the yellow flag wasn't flown, but it kind of showed on his display. He was fighting with the Verstappen, so he was given a reprimand instead of additional penalty. So that was a great news. But yeah, basically we were running 1 and 3rd, right? And Antonelli, then it was him against Leclerc, and different strategies. Ferraris, we went for the optimal strategy, right? So you run medium hard, so obviously you stop around lap 22, 25, 28. But with Antonelli, they run for almost 40 laps. So then Antonelli had like 10 laps fresher tires, and he was catching Leclerc, right? Thankfully there were a couple of virtual safety cars, as I mentioned, and one almost cost Hamilton a podium. But that was critical, because it allowed a bit of a breathing space. Antonelli then had to pitch a little bit too hard, and when he was just within 2 seconds of Leclerc, and Charles was questioning during the VSC, hey, should we stop for the tires? That was, I think, the only thing he shouldn't maybe think about. Say, look, you first, don't give up the victory, right? I mean, over here, once again, Charles Leclerc, wanted to stop for the tires, which would have to put him second, of course, yes, but, you probably would have never caught Antonelli, even though you would have the soft tires, the red mark soft tires. So, he has to have a bit of more of a winning attitude than Leclerc can have more than just 9 victories in 8 years, obviously, racing for Scuderia Ferrari. So, yeah, it did look a bit bleak, with about 10 laps to go, but then Antonelli pushed too hard through Copse, and, broke like a brake duct or, some part, obviously, that is there, protecting the wheel. So that obviously caused a massive loss of downforce. He was 2 or 3 seconds slower. He had to stop. Ferrari 1-2. Fantastic, right? Hamilton obviously, dispatched Russell. He's gotten slow puncture out of the way. Fantastic, great overtake. The way Russell and Hamilton fought really showed how great the Formula 1 is this year, because Hamilton overtook into Copse, into Megas and Beckett. They were side by side, very, very exciting. And great respect between Russell and obviously Hamilton. Hamilton's also gotten Verstappen, and Verstappen then was unable to defend. He kind of lucked into the P3, and then we could have had really a grandstand finish to this magnificent race. We would have gotten that 250th, that very special victory, 75 years on from our very first victory in Formula 1. Anyways, which, by the way, if you are really, really good at math, tells you that at least every race, every season you will have at least 3 Formula 1 Grand Prix victories by Scuderia Ferrari. That's right. So, this is just how successful we are. But yeah, Verstappen, basically was pushing too hard because he stopped during the VSC, as did, obviously, as did a couple of drivers. So, he knew that he had about 6-7 seconds, to close to Hamilton with about 6-7 laps to go, and again, he was just pushing the luck, lost it through the stove, and was beached in a gravel. Very, very upset, which is why I think no other top team will hire him, despite him being a 4-time world champion and being 3rd on the all-time winning list. But, then the maybe bad thing for us was that, everybody stopped for, the fresh set of the rubber. So, of course, like that, Hamilton 20 seconds behind, but he just lost out to Russell. And, you will think, okay, Russell is now on the old hard tires, right? Antonelli also, obviously, they, through 2 pit stops, they were able to clear up the issue, and he was now running 9th. So, pretty good result for a championship, but it was really supposed to be Ferrari's 1-2, the first for 24 years since 2002, when Schumacher and Barrichello have gotten 1 and 2 at this iconic track. But then guess what happened? We finished under the safety car. So, and the official explanation is that there was a software glitch. So that kind of dampened the spirits a little bit, right? Because what happened was that I think the accident with Verstappen happened on lap 48. At lap 49, finally the safety car caught up with Leclerc, who was obviously, was the race winner, and of course he was the race leader. And then, everybody started bunching up, right? It took about 1 lap, everybody bunched up. Then the lap cars were allowed to overtake. And this is, I think, something that, same like in Abu Dhabi, I think this, again, very badly influenced Lewis Hamilton's overall result. I mean, you could see that he was not so happy because it should have really been Ferrari's 1-2. At this point, obviously, Russell kind of lucked into the P3, now suddenly in P2, right? Despite him being almost P5, P6 because of that puncture. But yeah, what happened when you let these cars, to overtake, everything seemed clear. But because, that kind of the order, right, the directive, was given by the FIA at the start of lap 51, you had to wait 1 more racing lap. So basically lap 52, that's the final lap, though, so the race would finish under the safety car. But if they pressed it in lap 50, then at the end of lap 51, the safety car would peel in, and we would have an amazing 1 lap of racing. Russell on hard tires, and of course Hamilton on the soft tires. He would have mucked him, and maybe he would have even gotten Charles Leclerc for his 10th victory. But as it was, very, very dual, very, very anticlimax finish, and all the fans were definitely, disappointed. So this is something FIA really should fix, because in Abu Dhabi, there should have been a red flag, right? Obviously, you have the drawbacks, to there, but it can happen, right? That here, Russell, obviously, he would have lost quite a lot. Now he's only 25 points behind Antonelli, who, by the way, was also hugely disadvantaged because he's gotten a 5-second penalty, because when his the steering was kind of damaged because it had part of the brake duct over there. He went just like Leclerc, I believe, in Miami, and just like Hamilton, previous season, right? He cut a few corners, and he's gotten a penalty for that, right? That he has kind of done it on purpose. So as a result, if it finishes under the safety car, it drop him from P9 to P16. But like that, he would have at least one lap to maybe even recover a point, which could be the difference between who will be the world champion. So we always have to think about it, do it the right way. A bit anticlimax, obviously. We would have loved the 1-2, but we definitely loved the victory. So this was the official explanation. It kind of does make sense, but it's really disappointing that we have some stupid software issues like this, because that would have been a grandstand finish. I'm sure Hamilton would have destroyed Russell, would have finished in a P2, and that would be also very important for the Constructors' Championship. So let's take a look how this amazing race finished over here. So let's go and see the very handsome, obviously newly married Charles Leclerc over here. So we can see Charles over here winning the British Grand Prix for the very first time, and well deserved, fantastic victory for Leclerc. Over here scoring 25 points, winning ahead of George Russell, who got very lucky and who made up 18 points in the championship battle. Lewis Hamilton made up 15 again. This could also be crucial for a championship. That 6-point swing could well play into the role, because we do seem to be obviously very strong over here, and there's no indication that we in Belgium, as you can see on this beautiful 3D Scuderia Ferrari Formula 1 2026 calendar, and in the other races, definitely like in Hungary or Netherlands, and on the evidence of being strong on a power circuit like Silverstone, we can definitely win Monza, right? We were a bit worried after Austria. This could have big repercussions, this decision. Well, anyways, reigning world champion Lando Norris finished fourth with 12 points. Fifth is then Isaac Hadjar for Red Bull, 10 points. Sixth, Liam Lawson, 8 points. Great job for Racing Bulls. Arvid Lindblad, the homeboy, the only rookie for Racing Bulls, he finished 7 on 6 points. 8 is then Gabriel Bortoleto, Audi. I told you, bet on Audi, but on Hülkenberg, not on Bortoleto, 4 points. Audi, as Zauber, they have gotten a podium here last year, did very well again, and then Alpine with Franco Colapinto 9th, 2 points eventually, and then 10 Pierre Gasly, Alpine 1 point. So great job by Leclerc over here. So this is what it then means for the 2026 FI Formula 1 Drivers' Championship. Andrea Kimi Antonelli stays stuck on the 179 points, the same total he obviously had after sprint, and he is now leading George Russell, who is on 154 points, an exact race distance from Antonelli. But even if Antonelli retires in Belgium and Russell wins, he will be back behind still Antonelli, but equal on points, because Antonelli has won 5 races, Russell 2, 1 for Hamilton, 1 for Leclerc, and Lewis Hamilton is there, obviously 147 points. So you can see over here, this swing, Hamilton would be only point behind Russell, and obviously Lewis would be over here on 150 points. So you can see that he could be only met 29 points from his 8th world title, which would set the outright record, and my childhood hero Michael Schumacher would not be the most successful driver in terms of the World Championships, the record he shares with Hamilton. So Charles Leclerc now for Scuderia Ferrari, 4th driver this season into 100 points, 108 points. 5th, Lando Norris, reigning World Champion for McLaren, 97 points. Nice of the public to give him, the spectators, to give him his Lando Norris stand. Well, thankfully, if you go to Formula 1, you gotta be careful where you sit, so double check before. If you're Ferrari fan, you wanna sit, obviously, in the Lewis Hamilton stand. And over here, Oscar Piastri 6, McLaren 82 points, botched race, didn't get a point. 7, Max Verstappen, Red Bull 76 points, didn't get a points, but his teammate Isaac Hadjar did. He's 8 for Red Bull, 52 points, 9 Pierre Gasly, Alpine 42 points, 10 Liam Lawson, Racing Bulls 39 points, going very strong there. Lawson, look at him, what a turnaround in a year and a half. 11th is then Arvid Lindblad on 20 points for Racing Bulls. 12 is now Oliver Behrman, has 18 points, got hit by Albon and other 2 local boys who kind of ruined their race in the first lap. 13 is Dan Franco Colapinto, Alpine 18 points, and 14 is Gabriel Bortoleto for Audi 6 points, who is now ahead of 15 Carlos Sainz Williams 6 points, 16 Alexander Albon Williams 5 points. The 17 is then Esteban Ocon has 3 points, and 18 Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin 1 point. Nico Hülkenberg 19 for Audi, 0 points. He really is gonna make sure he picks up some points. Same for Valtteri Bottas, Cadillac 20 at 0 points. 21st Sergio Perez, Cadillac 0 points. 22nd then Lance Stroll, Aston Martin 0 points. Even though obviously Hülkenberg, he probably, as Audi gets better, especially if Bortoleto can be picking up the points, he will definitely follow, unlike the two Cadillacs and Stroll, and very likely Alonso as well. So let's take a look at the Constructors' Championship, the 2026 FIA Formula 1. Very exciting season with lots of overtaking. Sees Mercedes-Benz on 333 points, and being ahead of Scuderia Ferrari on 255. You know what that means. 5 and 5 should have been 10 victories for Hamilton. So yeah, over here, again, a bit of repercussions. We are 78 points behind, but obviously could have been just 72, even 70 points behind over here. Mercedes-Benz, yeah, which is definitely possible to make up. Again, that's 2-1-2s, in the next the final 2 races before the summer break. Benz's crash or retire because they are not so reliable, and we are leading the Constructors' Championship. Third is then McLaren, 179 points, and fourth Red Bull on 128 points with the crash Verstappen. Of course, we like to call him that. He deserves it because he did a bad thing when I was doing my race, as well. Fifth is then Alpine, 60 points. Sixth, Racing Bulls, 59 points. 7 Haas, 21 points. 8 Williams, 11 points. 9 Audi, 6 points. That was their best result to their short tenure in Formula 1 today, and they will be threatening definitely Williams again, maybe even Haas. Hopefully not, because we kind of like Haas. 10 Aston Martin, 1 point, and 11 Cadillac, 0 points. So yeah, a lot to play for, you guys. This is how the Constructors' Championship looks like. This is how the Drivers' Championship looks like after this pulsating Singapore Grand Prix. And this is Charles Leclerc winning it in style for the first time since Austin. So yeah, everybody over here, let's celebrate. This is how it looks like. And yeah, obviously for Leclerc, he's also outside bet for a championship. We should mention, because obviously Charles, is kind of, if I count the points right, 67 points behind. You never know, right? If Verstappen was almost able to overhaul 100, but what I think over here is that he's still lots of points behind, if you consider that Lewis Hamilton is still almost 40 points ahead of him. So yeah, definitely not the time yet for the team orders, but we will have to maybe sooner or later decide if we really are gonna be gunning for the championship. Who's that gonna be with. So for Leclerc, this is great, but again, he will still outpace in a sprint, but I'm sure he will enjoy this victory. Can give him a lot of confidence. Obviously Belgium, he's won before. Hamilton might not be going so strong in Belgium, might be different in Hungary, so we will see. Hopefully in both tracks we will be mega and go for another victories, just like I won in Austria. So you can see that concurrent 2025 season with pretty much a perfect weekend, changeable conditions, but once again I planted it on a pole position, and you can see how much that the victory obviously meant to me, because of course that also meant that we were able to reclaim the lead over here of the championship. So yeah, that's just wonderful that we are now pretty much us again we kind of reclaim the lead in Canada, I should say, to be leading over here is just great news. And of course we will be again, it's a tough fight between me and Verstappen, but you could see that I did a great job over here, really executed well. A bit unlucky that Doris obviously retired from that race, because he would have kind of helped me, right, to make a bit more of a gap to Verstappen. But I always win at the Red Bull Ring, and of course during the next race in Belgium, you will then see the British Grand Prix, where I'm sure I will always be aiming for the victory, because I won it 3 times before, so I want to be winning for the 4th time, just like I did in Austria here, with the pole position, with the fastest lap for the 63rd Ferrari victory by Jan, the Svalixan champion. But it is all about Charles Leclerc today, who has won for the 9th time for Scuderia Ferrari, to give us the very historic 250th win in Formula 1. So everybody, let's celebrate once again! Da, da, da. We are so happy for Ferrari, for Ferrari. We are the best. What a great victory! We are the best. We are the best. We destroy the opposition with our lightning starts and lightning speed. No matter which corner you go through, we have the power and stability around the living. Hey, 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 let's celebrate! Forza Ferrari, titles are coming. Let's go and meet the opposition for breakfast. Forza Ferrari, good job Charles and Lewis. And Jan Swaning's a champion. Forza Ferrari, Forza Ferrari. The Schumacher's years are hopefully back again. Forza Ferrari, Forza Ferrari. We are the winners of the British Grand Prix. Yeah! That's right, that's right, that's right. And of course, yes, and yeah, Charles Leclerc, let's listen to it, as well. Monaco anthem over here for Charles Leclerc, and yeah, it's a really lovely combination. So yeah, we would like to wish you over here from this royal place. Obviously, the Formula 1 started under the watch of the British King, and obviously Leclerc coming from Monaco, which is a great another crown jewel. It's a really great victory over here. And we hope there are many more to come, and we cannot wait over here, to again, enjoy all of these victories with you. So over here, that would be the preview of maybe what more is coming. So many Italian, actually it's quite funny that only once, twice, right, when Russell won, that we haven't heard the Italian national anthem, right, with Antonelli also being Italian. We are back, and we cannot wait for more racing. So everybody, let's celebrate the second Ferrari's victory of the season, as we are really now marching towards the World Championships. We love racing. We love Formula 1.